What's up, everyone? Welcome back Inside the Force here with Dave Cottingham and Hannah Burr. Good evening, Hannah.
Good evening. How are you?
I am great. We have a brand new series
Yes.
to talk about finally. It's been a long time, I feel like.
Oh, yeah.
Several months. We were treated to 2 episodes of the brand new series Skeleton Crew, which we will talk about and dive into. Other than that, a couple pieces of news, but a lot focused on these first 2 episodes of Skeleton Crew. First and foremost, thanks to our patrons, as always, for supporting us. Go to patreon.com/InsideTheForce if you want to check out those tiers. You know, get our reactions to these episodes as they come out. But of course, you're here this week at Inside the Force here on YouTube, where we have our other channels or our other shows. But we're here on the podcast as well on all your feeds talking about Star Wars. And we are going to talk about Skeleton Crew. But first, let's see. There's one bit of news, and it really came from Dave Filoni while he was on the red carpet talking about Skeleton Crew, but he has apparently confirmed that they have wrapped shooting for Mandalorian and Grogu.
Oh.
So yeah. So we are getting that movie, it seems like. But here's the thing I heard. I kind of read a comment I mean, obviously I thought about this too, but so the movie doesn't come out until May of 2026.
Yeah.
So that means there's a year and a half of post on this thing, which to me is great. That means they're going to really pay attention and do some good things to it. But that kind of makes you wonder sometimes, because I think the comment I saw was like, you're given a year and a half for this, but then there was like maybe only 6 months for or a year for Rise of Skywalker or something like that. It was like, you know, there was so much tightness in these movies before, but now you're finally giving some time to get this thing done right. So I don't know if that's to me, more time the better. You know, production you always want more time in production. So I really think, you know, we've talked about this before. I really think they're really putting all their efforts into this movie when this comes back into theaters.
And that's really, really interesting too, because I don't really know. I thought that Mando and Grogu's story was done, you know, with the way that season 3 ended. But yeah, I'm actually really, really happy to hear that. It makes me wonder if maybe they purposely buffered in some time in case something goes wrong. What if they filmed a handful of movies all at once, like they did with Lord of the Rings? But the other part of me goes, Star Wars is very good at practicals. Like, they're good at CGI, but they're also very good at practicals. So does this movie just not have a lot of practicals, and it's a lot of graphics?
Yeah, that's a good point, because, you know, on the volume and on these shows, you're trying to save some time, save money, so you're using the volume. I'd be surprised to know whether or not they use the volume on this movie, because you're right. I think that's kind of the easier way to go, and I think if you did that, it'd be less edit time, so you wouldn't need a year and a half. But part of me thinks you're right. I think they might have used a lot of blue screen, green screen for this.
They might have. I mean, we have no way of knowing. But
it could just be a lot bigger and grander than the series we got. So there's just a lot of CG, ships, you know, special effects. I mean, that's probably what I'm leaning towards, to make sure. And I don't think they want to like rush it and then all of a sudden people are like, well, that looks horrible.
You can't rush it.
Yeah.
I mean, graphics. I mean, we have a coworker who's basically the king of graphics at our employment. And it takes hours to get something very simple rendered out so that it can be shown.
Right.
So if you just think about that, I'm glad they're taking their time with it instead of, rushing towards this deadline because we've seen movies where the graphics were not good.
Right. Yeah.
Cough, cough, Doctor Strange 2. They don't look as good as before. So so if that's truly the case, I am glad they're taking their time with it, because you need to. That stuff you cannot rush.
No, can't do it. Yep. So that's good news. At least we know that a movie has been shot. The next Star Wars movie has been shot, and it will be out May of 2026. So I'm sure I'd be highly surprised if they don't show something, a teaser or some footage at Celebration in April. That'll be about a year out, so definitely probably expect something then. Of course, April also starts Andor, the second season, so that's exciting as well. So big stuff I think is going to be planned for Celebration.
Yes.
In Japan. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be going, but when it gets back to the States, I'm going. I promise. And Hannah, you're probably going to go too.
Yes.
So here we go. All right, episodes 1 and 2. Let's do some comments from our last episode and our reaction video. So Thrawn from our last episode says, now that it's here, I'm very excited for Skeleton Crew. I'm not expecting a masterpiece, but just hope for some Goonies fun in a Star Wars galaxy. Looking forward to both your thoughts. I love that any mysterious Force user, Hannah always goes to the Knights of Ren.
I'm sorry.
One day, Hannah, one day. May the Force be with you.
Thank you. It's just that's a mystery in and of itself.
Right. Yeah.
The Knights of Ren. So, because they kind of came out of nowhere.
They totally did. And then Kamar Jade says, interesting. I don't think he's going to be a dark side user, more like a rogue Force user, but these first 2 episodes were good. I'll leave my feedback with the Mandalore podcast, but suffice to say I'm happy so far. Same. Okay. And then on Patreon, we got Thrawn said he just watched them. Excited so far. Very excited to see where it goes. Interesting to hear Anton is a myth treasure planet, but seems to be a standard New Republic system, but with a barrier in using Old Republic credits is interesting. We will get into that for sure. And then Brandon, the Lazy Leprechaun, says, I'm really interested to learn more about the droid SM-33. I'm also happy that Nick Frost is playing SM-33. I love Nick Frost and Hot Fuzz. Yeah, like the other half of Simon Pegg has made it finally to Star Wars. So, okay, so there's some early comments from some patrons and YouTube. Those are mainly our patrons on the first 2 episodes. So, if you go to, good news is, if you go to StarWars.com, they actually have the episode guides up for the first 2 episodes now.
Great.
And I didn't really even look and realize what the titles were. So we do have titles. And the first episode, which we'll talk about now, is called This Could Be a Real Adventure. So not like these little one-word titles like we're used to in Star Wars, like big sentences.
Yep.
All right, Hannah. Episode 1 of Skeleton Crew. First initial thoughts.
Well, first thought was, wait, why are there a bunch of pirates? And then it also made me go, well, Skeleton Crew makes sense. Because you got the, in not a galaxy far, far away here on planet Earth, pirates are known by the skull and crossbones.
Yes, that's right.
So I was like, okay, so that's where Skeleton Crew is going. And then, I think it's very safe to say that Jude Law's character is the captain that was mutinied.
Yeah, they're trying to keep that a secret, but I think it's pretty obvious.
It's obvious. You listen to his voice; it is obvious that it's him. But then, I think this is the first time we actually see a very wealthy upper middle class This is the first time we've seen something like that in a neighborhood with kids
Right.
going to schools. Like, we've seen glimpses of it throughout episodes and such, but we've never had something take place in that. And it was fun. The kid actors, oh my gosh, they are fantastic. And I do have to say, it made me feel very icky that they're 10 years old and they're about to take an exam that'll determine their future. Like, that's that's not. But it's also really, really cool, excuse me, to see them fantasize about the Jedi. Like, it was very Goonies reminiscent.
Yeah.
That was episode 1 for me. It was very Goonies. And I mean, the title is so fitting. It is so, so fitting. And it was just fun. It was fun to see something different. What were your takeaways from it?
Yeah, I went into it, I think we both kind of went into it with, minimized expectations and just wanted to look for something fun and enjoyable. And, I think I will say first off that I'm ecstatic that I'm not seeing negative comments all over social media.
Yes. I was kind of shocked at that. Like, pleasantly surprised.
Yes. Yeah, I'm glad that this really, this really got people back to that feeling of Star Wars again. And it does that. I think it's definitely Star Wars. Like you, though, which we'll get into a little bit later, but like there's definitely parts of it that it's weird. It's new Star Wars,
It is.
But overall, when you're talking about adventure, you're talking about not even just having kids, but having that young feeling and that feeling of adventure and feeling of mysterious and being along that journey. I think it was fun. And, my daughter, who I watched it with, who's about to be 15, she's already into what Star Wars is. And honestly, she's one of those ones that doesn't not like, a lot of things. Like, she enjoys everything and enjoys all the Marvel movies, enjoys tons of anime shows that she watches. But with Star Wars, she has her favorites. Like, she loves Ahsoka and she loved Obi-Wan. She loves Andor. I would say she loves Clone Wars. She was a little less, I feel like, on the Bad Batch, maybe. Some points she liked it. Like, she loves Asajj. But I was wondering about how she would feel about this, but man, she loved it. She liked the Acolyte, but I don't think she was high on Acolyte like most people was. But this one, you can see she was laughing, she was smiling, she was just really enjoying it, and that's it, man. If you can get there, that's it. And it's not a complicated story. I mean, it may get complicated. I mean, who knows? May get, but for me, and I think we're kind of summarizing both of them now. Mm-hmm. But for me, it was, I said in our last episode, there's got to be something besides just trying to get home that is going to get me to want to come back. And they did that. There is something, which we'll talk about. But that's what I was looking for. And it was fun. And I got teased about some things that I'm interested in. So in that sense, that's all I wanted. It was great. So I really enjoyed it. I think it's going to be a good run. And I hope it satisfies the masses as much as these first 2 episodes has once we get to the end. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it really did touch that childlike wonder and that childlike imagination. Because I mean, who of us didn't play make believe when we were little?
Right. Yeah.
Like, just that alone.
Oh yeah. Especially, seeing them, like, it's interesting seeing kids playing with fake lightsabers, like,
Because I bet you we both did that when we were
absolutely. Little. I still do that. What are you talking about?
Zoom, zoom, zoom.
I got lightsabers sitting on my desk at work, but that's it's interesting to see that part of it because they're in it, right? That's their universe, and they must have heard the stories, and they know about especially Wim. He knows about Jedi and has read about Jedi and all that. But so one thing I thought of, you kind of hit on it, like the modern look of this planet.
Oh.
And how suburban it is. And I mean, it basically looks like, hands down to me, looks like a futuristic Earth, like
absolutely
1,000 years from now or something like that, right? Was that odd for you to see that in Star Wars? No,
it just was new and different because you knew that existed somewhere. Like, not all planets.
Well, we didn't know because we didn't have seen it before.
No, but what I'm saying is you have to assume that there is a city like that. There is a suburbia like that because we've seen so many other different communities. But the majority of them have either been like mansions and incredibly wealthy or absolutely incredibly poor. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, like it felt really cool to see something that's quote unquote normal or quote unquote the American dream. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point because we have seen. Well, I will say this. Yeah, in the movies, like when we only got given the films, you're either on Jakku or Naboo, where everybody's like fighting and living in the elements, or you're on Coruscant or Naboo, and we're seeing the royalty side of the world. Now, I remember people know this, but there were deleted scenes in Episode 2 when Anakin and Padme go to Naboo. They visit her family.
Yeah.
So you saw like a normal house, and they sit for dinner, and because if you think about it, like what the one thing I recognize Star Wars for, and now this might be weird, and I don't know if everybody thinks this, but I've got this. This is going to be weird to say. I got kind of this pet peeve of like my computer and stuff that's sitting here on my desk, and even you probably know. I don't know if you notice this, but my computer at work, I don't like seeing cords.
No, you don't. You have them hidden in your desk, and I like look at it. I'm like, where the fat did his cords?
Oh, go? Did you notice that? Okay,
I didn't notice that, but I'm like I don't care. But
so I got a ton of cords behind. You can't even see it, right? Obviously with my screens but I have them like wrangled and tied up, and it's like I have a stickler for seeing cords. But if you notice, I don't know if you notice, in Star Wars, there's cords everywhere. Right, because like the lights, when they have lights up, they don't like put it in conduit. It's just like hung, right? Yep. The cables are hung, and like when you go to Galaxy's Edge, that's what's pretty unique about it because that's when you're in Star Wars. It's all over. Like cords are exposed. It's all, but that's what I see, and to me that's Star Wars. Whereas on Earth, here we try to hide like all our cords are in the walls, right?
Oh, that's a good point. That's actually a very good point.
Our electricity's in the walls, right? So it's like they don't care. They just hang, and it's not just poor people, the rebellions. Like even the Empire has like cords everywhere. Or you go to a cantina, there's cords everywhere. It's like that's just part of you're playing when you start playing Outlaws. I'm walking around Outlaws. That's all I see is cords everywhere.
I think it's also because everything is run on machinery. Everything is run on electricity. You have to have an easy access point. Like, for example, our heater broke and I couldn't access it. So I had to call our maintenance guy.
That's true. Yeah.
Like, so.
If you can get to the cords easier.
Yes, but if I saw the cords, I'd be like, okay, done.
Yeah.
We have heat. Yeah. We're no longer wearing our parkas in the apartment.
Yeah. But that's what I noticed in this. Obviously, you can't see the cables anywhere. And these guys' houses and the school.
Oh, I didn't notice that, but now that
Oh
you're
no,
saying
it looks like Earth. That's what makes it look like Earth to me. You know,
So that's what was okay.
it's like it's all clean and everything's put away. You know, it's not like Star Wars where everything's exposed. So now, obviously, like you look at like a Death Star or like all that's not exposed, right? I mean, because they built it that way. But you know, when you get into any of these like just normal like bars and most of these homes that you see, some of these homes that you see, but obviously, like you said, like Mothma's suite on Coruscant, like that looks like a rich person. You know, they're not going to have exposed wiring and all that stuff. But anyway, but exposed wiring, we're kind of used to it in Star Wars in a sense. But that's where it kind of gets like, it looks normal. And like the kid has, like when do we see a kid's normal bedroom? Like I've never seen like, and I told my daughter, I was like, you know, I think when I think back, you rarely see people with pillows or blankets. Like it's usually just laying on a bed and you're sleeping like Lando's ship and like on Solo, like he didn't have, there's no blankets and pillows there. It's just a flat piece of bed.
Episode 2, bed, blanket.
Right. Yes. They're rich. Yeah. She's a senator. Sure. So she would definitely have it.
Interesting.
But you know, he was laying there with a pillow and a blanket. And I'm like, oh, that's neat. You know, as a kid. So look, it was different, but I like you, I understand that there's going to be different worlds out there. And it looked, I mean, there's like someone walking a pet, you know, it's like, you know,
so normal.
Yeah. And I believe like, did you see how the cars or the speeders, they were on a track, and I believe we're going to get there. I mean, we may not be alive when in this world, but like our world and society is going to be all run by tracks. Cars are going to be doing by themselves. So I thought that again, that's why I thought I was like, oh, this looks like a future Earth, which is pretty neat. But yeah, so as far as that goes, now let's talk. I do want to talk a little bit about the hook that I was saying, which is
before the hook.
Go ahead.
I do want to say one more thing that also gave me the creeps.
Okay.
Their teachers are robots.
True.
And I know, I wonder if your wife has anything to say about that.
She hasn't watched this yet.
Okay. Well, when she does, I would love to hear what she thought about that. Because I don't know, like, to me, the neighborhood and the town just felt too normal. It felt too utopian. And like I've already said, it was icky that 8-10-year-olds are determining their fate in their lives.
Right.
And then you have robots teaching them. How are they going to learn if they can't really engage with the teacher? Mm-hmm. It's just, yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, no, that was, you know, that was different. That was definitely different. It seems, well, let's get into it, because the place is called At Aten, and it is it's described on the databank here at StarWars.com as a planet that is an orderly, peaceful world, well attended to by service droids and diligent citizens. That's all it says.
Oh, I hate it. Thanks, I hate it.
Yeah.
I don't like that. Oh.
And the way it was described on the show when they talked about them, and these kids were telling people where they're from, you know, now they were on this spaceport with a bunch of pirates, but to the pirates, this was a fantasy world.
Yeah.
You know, a world that was just a myth with some treasure. So that, to me, that's what's like, okay, that's what's hooking me. Now that hooked me. That's because what is this planet? What really is this planet? Because for one, there's a barrier. There's some kind of barrier. And the kids were terrified to leave the barrier. So they've never left. They've never been on a starship or seen a starship, it feels like.
Heck, they haven't even seen stars before.
They haven't seen stars before. So the barrier blocks out the stars, I guess.
I hate it. Like, as soon as the whole barrier thing came up and they're like, oh, what are those? Oh, they must be all planets. I was like, Oh, you poor sweet children! What
So
have
they're
they
not
done
even
to
getting
you?
taught that there's other systems out there, are they? I
No,
don't
they're
know.
not, because they're not aware of anything outside of their planet, as far as we can tell. And it seems like with the digital, well, I'm going to call it a Kindle, even though I know it's not a Kindle, but with the
Yeah, it's a
books
data
on the
pad, right?
yeah
Yeah.
data pad with the stories on there, it felt so mythical. It felt
Yes.
so much like legends versus like this is history. This is
Right.
textbook. So that makes me go, wait, if this group is really part of the New Republic, wouldn't they do more propaganda supporting the Jedi with Luke? Like, it just like a lot of things don't feel right about this.
You're right. Now, Thrawn mentioned on here when he did the comment, he mentioned that they had they, as in the kids, had Old Republic credits.
Yes.
But were they old? Because to me, they look like New Republic credits. I thought they had the new symbol on it.
No, I think they have the rebellion symbol.
Well, that is the New Republic symbol.
Oh, that is. Well, then
The New Republic has adopted the rebellion symbol, and they just all they did was put the stars around it. So I think those are New Republic credits that he has.
I'm quickly looking this up.
Yeah, and I'm gonna get a I'm gonna pull up a shot of this credits here in a second again.
Whim. Hang on. What credit? What does the credit Whim had?
Yeah, because they're gold, so they look new. They don't look old either, right? They're. Does he say? Let me see if the bartender says.
No, he says that they're Old Republic credit. Like, how did you get a mint condition? I just want to see.
He said that'll be 2 decks credits. What do you think? And he says Whim. Neil says Whim pay him, so he comes up with the credits.
Hang on.
He says, Blazes, where did you get that?
Yeah, Blazes, where did you get that?
Yeah, see, he doesn't say. I don't think he says if they're new or old.
I thought he said an Old Republic, like a mint condition Old Republic.
Who's it? The bartender or somebody else? I mean,
Somebody else.
Oh, well. Oh, no, he does say. He says, the other guy says, where'd you find an Old Republic credit in mint condition? Oh, okay.
That's it.
Okay, interesting. So, okay.
So it is an Old Republic credit.
Yeah, but Old Republic meaning probably prior to the Empire, not like old Republic.
No. Yes. I am assuming meaning pre-Empire.
Pre-Empire, yeah.
Or maybe even during the Empire, because didn't they change out the currency after the Battle of Jakku?
Well, yeah. They changed because the Empire. It was still credits, but the Empire just started branding. It was a different branded, right? Because the logo,
okay.
the Imperial logo, was now on the credits.
So we are talking probably about pre-Empire.
Yeah, this is probably during prequels.
Yeah.
Credits is what it was. I'm assuming what he means.
Which then like goes, how much have all these people on this planet been in the dark? How many years have they been in the dark?
Right. That's where I'm at, because do they even? I'm assuming they know what happened to the Empire. I mean,
we have no idea. Like
that there was an empire that
what's
took over
really
the galaxy.
When Wim was looking through his data pad, were there any Sith in there?
I don't think I saw Sith.
That's what makes me think, okay, this is still pre-Empire because Sith are quote unquote not on the board yet. It's just mainly Jedi. Mm-hmm. So are they not aware that basically 4, 5, and 6, and frankly 3, they didn't happen? Like they happened?
I don't know if they are aware that a rebellion happened or not.
Whoa.
Yeah, so that's very that again, that's why I'm very interested now and really interested in this. What is up with this planet? Because that means they probably don't have, if no one's leaving the barrier, they don't have Republic representation then.
They not only have that, they have no need for shipments or anything.
That's right. It doesn't seem like everything's
it's a
on
self-sufficient planet. Like, where are they getting, how could they have survived that long without resources from other planets and trade? But you're right.
I mean, we survive here without any other planets.
Well,
right?
that's true. But
that's what they're doing. Right. They're like an Earth, right?
They have no government representation.
But that's the thing. They have their own internal government, I guess. Planetary government, and and obviously the planet's bigger probably, so there might be other, again, like to them, I don't know if they call them countries, but like there's other parts of the planet probably, and I don't know if they have their own government or just one government governing. It's very intriguing, and the whole aspect of this thing really is, so is it seems like this is an ancient world or some kind of old system that has this mythological story around it that these pirates have come to know, and they obviously don't believe it's real. And the myth is that there is some kind of treasure. So this does end up being some kind of treasure-seeking show.
It's
right?
Treasure Planet.
Treasure Planet. There you go.
I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah, or like a national treasure or something like that. Yeah. And Jude Law's character probably that's kind of obviously his motivation. He's helping the kids because he's going to find this planet. But that's the beauty, because I always thought about this when this show was in development. I'm thinking about this is like, well, surely the kids just know the coordinates and they can't just punch in the coordinate. Well, they don't. And apparently no one knows the coordinates.
Nobody does. Which, like, I'm sorry, I never would have called that we would be basically going on a pirate's adventure. I never would have called that seeing the trailer.
So, which means I would think maybe in this next episode or the fourth, like, the only way you can find it is you have to have a map.
They're probably going to find a map, which is going to be a holocron or something. I mean,
maybe it's the traditional, like, some kind of written map that you got to go find or something like that. Since, because you never know, because I would think I'm just taking a guess that we're talking. This planet has been this myth probably for thousands of years. Right. Thousands of years.
And if we're talking about thousands of years, we're talking High Republic.
Yes. No, not even, maybe even further than that, because that's only a couple hundred years.
Holy smokes.
I'm thinking like the true Old Republic.
Is this how we're actually going to get Old Republic tie-ins?
Maybe it's possible.
I
think it's possible. Because
so this is my question then. Why is there a downed pirate ship on the planet? Like, clearly it's been there for a while because it was covered in stuff. But it wasn't there for thousands of years.
Why not?
I feel like the bones would have been more decomposed.
Well, I don't think the bones don't.
No, I know they don't, but like they seemed to, not fresh, but it seems like it happened within the past handful of decades.
I think the growth on top of that ship was like a long time. The trees were really tall.
That's true.
Man. I mean, and I don't know if that droid, I don't know if Shmi or SM-33 will find out what time period. I don't think he ever will ask, what time period it is or whatever.
We're gonna get a Long John Silver coming in here.
What do you mean a Long John Silver?
Well, like, oh shoot, what's the name in Treasure Island or Treasure Planet or even Muppets Treasure Island? The name of the pirate that's like, here's the map, you gotta keep it safe. You gotta blah, blah. And then Long John Silver is the man missing a leg.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, yeah, I know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
So it's like, So this feels like it's a whole spin on the top of the head of Treasure Island, which I'm not mad at.
Right. I know you're a big fan of that. Yeah. Yeah. This planet's really got me thinking, more so than, the kids and stuff. It's like, I'm really captured by the history of that and seeking that out. So I don't, because, what we have learned is these ships, they don't kind of, the power cells on them are like thousands of years, like old, like, that's been known for a while. Like these, I think it was even on, remember, like even on Rise of Skywalker when they got the Ochi's ship, it's like that's been sitting there for decades and they were able to just turn that back on and go. And, so that is the beauty of Star Wars. Like, but, yeah, I mean, the ship, yeah, because look at the ship. I mean, the ship is like, has all this stuff grown in on it and stuff. It's like,
that's true. So maybe it was there.
It's pretty old. Maybe not thousands of years, but definitely hundreds of years.
I do want to say, though, I did cackle out loud when we found out the droid's name was
Shmi.
SM-33. I'm like, it's me.
I know, right? Yeah.
It's me.
That's funny. And it talks like a pirate.
Oh,
that's pretty good.
Thank you for that cameo from Peter Pan, Disney. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And what I did like about it, too, is you did get a lot of aliens in here.
Oh my gosh. Like,
it wasn't just like a bunch of humans dressed up and different stuff like that. I mean, you got a lot of different species of creatures in here.
One of my favorite moments is when they came across on that port, alien, they're like, wow, they're funny looking. Like, that's such a kid thing to say.
Yeah,
I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun. And I can't wait to learn more about Aten because holy smokes.
Yeah.
All of the implications behind that are insane.
Yeah. I'm definitely I'm more intrigued by Aten than I am about Jude Law's character, actually.
Yeah, at this point. I mean, it'd be interesting to know, okay, he was a pirate, but he's a Force user, so maybe he is more of like a neutral Force user versus like he just discovered he had it, so he just was using it to wow the other pirates or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's pretty clear where the story's going in general when it comes to Jude Law's character and the kids. But I'm with you. I'm more like, okay, at Aten, what's going on here? What is your history? What is your deal?
Yeah. Yeah. The one question that I have about Jude Law's character is if he was able to do that, why didn't he already do that?
That was my question too. So I don't know if there was like a rig set up to make him look like he has Force abilities, like it was a magic trick.
Right.
Or yeah, that was my question too. Or maybe he just needed a reason why, and that's the leverage he had. The leverage was, oh, these kids are from this planet. Now I have leverage to get through being like, oh, don't touch the kids. They know where this planet is.
Right.
And so that's the only thing I can think of. But that was the thing. I'm like, and you're waiting till now?
I know. Like, what the heck have you been doing in there this whole time?
Did you have a Force vision that these kids were going to come to you with this awesome knowledge?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So that's
oh, I wonder if what if the rig was set up and somehow when they found out the kid, like what if it's just this elaborate scheme where he's in on it with the rest of the crew?
Yeah, I mean, that could be a possibility. I mean, I think based on that first scene we saw, since we saw that first, I mean, I think his crew was pretty upset with him, and
it's true.
Basically threw him in and locked him up. I mean, he actually even said it, right? Didn't the other captain said, lock him up. No, I think he said that about the kids, actually.
Yeah, he did.
So
and I was expecting him to be airlocked
Yeah, so that's the thing. It's how we don't know how long Jude Law's been there. It's stuck in there,
Yeah.
So, but it's funny because on this episode guides, they're definitely treating it like two separate characters.
They are, but we know.
Yeah, totally know.
Watch that they pull the whole twin switcheroo on us or something.
Oh gosh, it better not. Because they did, because the character, of Jude Law, which is, oh dang it, where is it? I just had it. So Captain Silvo is what he's called, right? But then his Jod is his actual name, right? So they have two separate databanks here, entries for what's probably the same person. So
hang on.
What?
Oh my gosh. Captain Silvo. Long John Silver.
Oh. You think they're connected? Or it's...
This is Treasure Island flipped on its head, because he's about to help the kids who is Jim, young Jim.
Interesting.
And Jim has the key to where the treasure is.
Oh yeah, so this is that story, huh? Yeah.
I'm not mad about it, but I just put that together.
Yeah, I'm glad you did. I think that's not a bad conclusion. I think, it's not a bad guess. I think you're right. I need to go back. I haven't seen Treasure Planet. Is it Treasure Planet?
So there's Treasure Island. There's Muppets Treasure Island, which is phenomenal. I love Tim Curry.
Wait, just Treasure Island is what's his name? Jim? Is it Jim Hawkins or something like that?
Yep, Jim Hawkins. Which they still kept whenever they did Treasure Planet, which very underrated. I absolutely
so there's a Treasure Planet too.
Yes, so Disney basically took Treasure Island and turned it into a space adventure.
Oh, okay. So Treasure Planet is the one I've seen.
Yes, if you saw the Disney one.
Is Treasure Island not Disney?
With so Muppet Treasure Island is a novel that was made live action. When was it made live action? Treasure Island movie. The original Treasure Island movie was created in 1950. Maybe it is Disney. Yeah, it's Disney.
Oh, okay. I never saw that.
Yeah, the original trailer from Walt Disney's Treasure Island from 1950.
Okay. So they updated it to Treasure Planet in the 90s, I think, right?
No, early 2000s. That came out around the same time as Lilo and Stitch. Yep. Because remember in the last podcast or the last episode, I was talking about how for marketing purposes.
Yes. Yeah.
They pumped everything to Lilo and Stitch instead of Treasure Planet. They both came out in 2002.
2002. Okay. Guys, Lilo and Stitch feels like so much longer than that, though.
And then I think Muppet Treasure Island came out in the 90s. It was either the 80s or the...
Okay. So that's what we're talking about then. It looks like it's kind of a different take on that.
1996.
So I need to go back and watch Treasure Planet again.
It's so good.
But this has got, this has also got a lot of, like you said, it's got a little National Treasure. It's got Pirates of the Caribbean kind of feel to it.
It has a Goonies feel to it, absolutely.
Goonies for sure. Yeah, totally. Definitely. So, all right. Either way, look, off to a great start. I think this, I'm real happy and interested in it. The episodes are now going to be dropping on Tuesday evenings at 9:00 Eastern. They moved up the premiere to a Monday, but the new episodes will be out on Tuesday. Rotten Tomato score is really high. Audiences are loving this thing. Again, it's refreshing to get the audience, the Star Wars fans. I think I think this is something definitely non-Star Wars fans could really enjoy as well.
Oh, absolutely.
because you don't need to know anything else that's going on.
No.
And like you said, I think, to be honest, this thing is probably going to be made or broken based on the acting of the kids.
Absolutely. But if there's any indication from the first 2 episodes, they're going to be great.
They're going to be great. They're doing good. They're doing good. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's enjoy Skeleton Crew for the next few weeks. So
yes, let's.
Thanks everybody. Let us know what you thought, and we'll read those comments on the next show. I am going to be starting up the Mandalore podcast again with Martin this weekend. So if you like Kamara Jade said, if you want to add some feedback, you can go check us out there. And Hannah and I will be back next week talking about episode 3 and whatever other news Star Wars puts out there. So thanks, Hannah.
Thanks, Dave.
Take care, everyone. We'll see you next week. May the Force be with you.